There is a moment almost every man experiences, and almost none understand that it happens quietly. No argument. No rejection. No explanation. One day she's engaged. Curious. Emotionally present, and then something shifts, her replies slow down, her tone cools, the warmth in her eyes disappears, as if a switch was flipped, and the most dangerous part, you don't know why, you replay every message, every word, every decision, you ask yourself what you did wrong, but the truth is far more unsettling, you didn't fail because you lacked effort, you failed because effort itself triggered the collapse. What you're about to learn is something modern men were never taught, because it operates beneath language, beneath logic, and beneath intention. Female attraction is not built by what you say, that it is filtered by what you project. Long before she processes your words, her nervous system has already classified you, stable or unstable, leader or follower, anchor or emotional liability, and once that classification happens, no amount of explaining, pleasing, or proving can reverse it. This is where most men lose, silently, instantly, and permanently. They believe attraction grows through consistency, validation, and emotional availability, but female desire responds to something older, colder, and far more precise. An instinctive filter shaped by evolution, one that scans your posture, your pace, your emotional control, and your internal direction in milliseconds. You can't negotiate with it, you can't talk your way around it, and you can't fake it. Every anxious text, every rushed response, every attempt to be understood instead of being grounded leaks information about your internal structure, and she feels it before she knows she feels it. That's why some men, without chasing, without explaining, without trying, become unforgettable. They don't compete, they don't seek approval, they don't react emotionally, they operate from a different level of presence. In this video, you're going to see 3 silent mechanisms that decide whether a man is dismissed, tested, or desired. Before attraction ever becomes conscious, these are not tricks, not manipulation, not lines. They are evolutionary codes that determine who she respects, who she feels safe around, and who she instinctively leans toward. Once you understand them, you stop asking, "What does she want?" and start controlling the only thing that ever mattered, what she feels in your presence. Stay with me, because once you see this, you won't just understand female behavior, you'll understand why the same men are always chosen, and why most are silently eliminated before the game even begins. To understand why you lose her attention, you must first understand the biological battlefield you are stepping onto. This is not a social gathering, it is an assessment of survival capability disguised as a conversation. For thousands of years, the cost of a mating error for a woman was catastrophic. A weak man, an unstable man, or a fearful man meant danger. It meant a lack of protection. It meant death. Because of this, the female brain evolved a highly sensitive, ruthless detection system designed to bypass your words and scan your core. It is not personal. It is survival. When you try to convince her of your worth through logic, you are speaking to her neocortex, the modern, rational part of the brain. But attraction does not live there. Desire is not a decision, it is a reaction. It lives in the limbic system, the ancient reptilian brain that only understands signals of power, safety, and dominance. When you offer her kindness, compliance, and endless availability, you think you are showing love. But to her ancient brain, you are signaling low value. You are signaling that you have no other options, no mission, and no spine. You are signaling that you are a resource to be used, not a force to be respected. This brings us to the uncomfortable truth about the nice guy. The man who agrees with everything, the man who apologizes for taking up space, the man who is terrified of offending her. He believes he is being a gentleman. She perceives him as a predator in disguise. Why? Because his behavior is not authentic. It is a strategy to get in her pants or into her heart. It is manipulative compliance. Her instinct picks up on this dissonance immediately. She feels the anxiety leaking off him like a bad smell. She senses the hidden contract, that if he is nice enough, she owes him affection. And because this dynamic is repulsive to the evolutionary mind, she pulls away. The switch flips. The warmth turns to ice. You must internalize that her distance is not a punishment for a mistake you made. It is a reaction to the weakness you projected. You violated the codes of strength. You showed her that your emotional state depends on her approval. And the moment a woman feels she is the source of your stability, she can no longer feel safe with you. She cannot lean on a man who is leaning on her. This is the paradox. To keep her close, you must prove you do not need her to be whole. You must demonstrate that your reality is solid, with or without her participation. Let us dismantle the first silent mechanism that dictates this dynamic, the neural classification system. Before you even open your mouth to say, hello, a classification has already occurred. It happens in the way you walk into a room, the way you hold your drink, the way your eyes move. Most men are completely unaware of their microsignals. They have restless eyes, scanning the room for approval. They have a collapsed chest, protecting their vital organs, a subconscious sign of submission. They speak quickly, trying to get their point across before they are interrupted. All of this screams, prey. The high-value man, the man who triggers an instant, biological spark of intrigue, operates differently. He moves with a slow, deliberate weight. He does not scan the room, he observes it. His eyes are steady. He is not looking for safety, he is bringing it. This is not about puffing out your chest or acting tough. It is about internal gravity. Imagine a large planet. It does not chase the moons orbiting it. It simply exists, massive and dense, and its gravity naturally draws everything toward it. You must become the planet. This internal gravity is projected primarily through silence. In a conversation, there will be gaps. The anxious man is terrified of these gaps. He feels the tension building and rushes to fill the void with nervous chatter, jokes, or questions. He literally vomits words to relieve his own anxiety. When you do this, you hand her all your power. You tell her, I am uncomfortable with tension, please help me fix it. But the man who understands the code loves the silence. He sits in it. He looks at her, comfortable, grounded, unbothered. He lets the tension build because he knows that sexual tension and anxiety are two sides of the same coin. By not breaking the silence, he forces This triggers the curiosity loop. A woman cannot desire a man she can completely predict. If you are an open book, reading out your entire life story, your insecurities, and your feelings in the first hour, there is no mystery. There is no hunt. You have become a known quantity, and known quantities are boring. You must remain somewhat opaque. Not secretive, but contained. A man who contains his energy is like a dam holding back a massive river. The power is felt not in the flooding, but in the potential. She must feel that there are depths to you she has not yet touched. This is what keeps the spark alive. Now, we descend deeper into the second mechanism, the one that destroys more relationships than infidelity or incompatibility ever could, the stress test. You know it as drama, nagging, or being difficult. The evolutionary psychologist knows it as fitness testing. Because a woman is biologically hardwired to seek a capable partner, she must constantly verify that you are who you say you are. It is easy to act tough when life is easy. It is easy to be confident when everyone is agreeing with you. But what happens when the storm hits? What happens when she challenges you? She will intuitively poke at your insecurities. She might make a comment about your job, your clothes, or your friends. She might cancel plans at the last minute. She might withdraw affection for no reason. She is not doing this to be cruel. She is shaking the tree to see if the roots are deep. If you crumble, if you get defensive, if you start explaining yourself, or worse, if you get angry and aggressive, you fail the test. You have proven that your emotional state is fragile. You have proven that her opinion controls your reality. The average man views these tests as attacks. He fights back or he collapses. The elite man views them as data. He understands that she is simply asking, are you strong enough to handle me? The only correct answer to a test is non-reactivity. This does not mean you are a robot. It means you are a mountain. The wind blows, the rain falls, and the mountain remains. When she throws a verbal jab, you do not jab back. You do not apologize. You utilize the fog technique. You agree with the truth of the statement, ignore the insult, and move on. Or, you use amused mastery. You treat her like a cute little sister who is trying to wrestle you. You smile, unbothered, perhaps give a smirk that says, nice try, and you continue on your path. This emotional sovereignty is intoxicating to women because it is so rare. Most men are leaves in the wind, blown about by every mood swing of their partner. When you refuse to be blown about, you become the anchor. She might act frustrated in the moment that she couldn't get a rise out of you, but deep down, her nervous system relaxes. She feels safe. She knows that if a real crisis occurs, a loss of income, a health scare, a threat to the family, you will not panic. You will handle it with the same cool detachment you handled her test with. You are demonstrating your utility as a protector through your emotional discipline. Consider the explanation trap. This is the most common way men fail the test. She accuses you of not caring enough. You immediately launch into a 5-minute monologue listing all the things you did for her last week, trying to use logic to prove her feeling is wrong. You have lost. You are now in the defensive position. You are seeking acquittal from her tribunal. The moment you start justifying your existence, you lower your status. The high-value response is brief. I hear you feel that way, followed by action, or silence. You do not validate the frame that you are on trial. You reject the premise. This requires a level of self-assurance that most men simply do not possess because they have not built a life that gives them value outside of the relationship. This leads us to the third, and perhaps most critical, mechanism, the vector of expansion. Attraction is not static, it is kinetic. It relies on movement. A woman does not fall in love with a snapshot of a man, she falls in love with the movie. She needs to feel that you are going somewhere. If you are stagnant, if your life looks exactly the same today as it did 3 years ago, her attraction will die. It is inevitable. Biology abhors stagnation because stagnation equals death. You must be a man on a mission. This is often repeated in self-improvement circles, but it is rarely explained correctly. This isn't about making $1 million or having six-pack abs, although those things help. It is about the vector. A vector has a starting point, a direction, and a magnitude. You must have a purpose that is higher than her. If she becomes your sole purpose, if she becomes the sun around which your life orbits, she will resent you. She does not want to be your mission, she wants to join you on yours. When you have a burning ambition, a project, a skill you are mastering, or a legacy you are building, you become a moving target. You become scarce. You are not always available to text her back instantly because you are busy building an empire, or a body, or a masterpiece. This scarcity creates value. It reminds her that your time is a limited resource. It forces her to compete for your attention, rather than you begging for hers. This concept of leading extends to the smallest interactions. The man who asks, "What do you want to do for dinner?" thinks he is being considerate. He is actually being lazy. He is placing the burden of decision-making on her. He is forcing her to lead. The masculine polarity is about piercing through chaos with direction. The correct approach is, "I know a great Italian place downtown, be ready at 7. You are not controlling her, you are offering a plan. If she hates Italian, she will say so, and you can adjust. But the act of providing a structure is what turns her on. It signals that you are a man who knows what he wants and has the competence to make it happen. Women are exhausted by modern men who are passive. Men who wait for permission. Men who wait for a sign. Men who are afraid to make a mistake. A leader makes decisions. Sometimes they are wrong decisions, but the act of deciding is powerful. It shows that you trust your own judgment. When you constantly defer to her, you are signaling that you trust her judgment more than your own. Why should she follow a man who doesn't even trust himself? This brings us to the shadow integration. To be truly magnetic, you cannot just be the nice, productive guy. You must have an edge. This doesn't mean being a jerk. It means integrating your capacity for aggression and channeling it into protection and drive. It means having the capacity for danger but keeping it under voluntary control. As the psychologist Jordan Peterson notes, a harmless man is not a good man. A good man is a dangerous man who has that danger under control. A woman wants to know that beneath your civilized suit, there is a primal force capable of tearing the world apart to protect her. If you are harmless, you are boring. You need to show boundaries are the invisible walls of your castle. If you have no boundaries, you have no territory. If you allow her to disrespect you, talk down to you, or flake on you without consequence, you are telling her that your territory is free for the taking. You are telling her you have no self-respect. And a woman cannot respect a man who does not respect himself. Paradoxically, when you calmly but firmly enforce a boundary, I don't tolerate lateness, or don't speak to me like that, her attraction for you goes up. She has hit a wall. She has found your spine. She realizes she cannot push you over. This resistance is what she craves. It proves you are solid. Let's synthesize these mechanisms into a practical operating system for your daily life. It begins with the 3-second rule. Not the rule about dropping food, but the rule about responding. When she asks a question, waits. Count to 3 in your head. Hold eye contact. Then speak. This tiny delay breaks the pattern of the anxious pleaser. It adds weight to your words. It shows you are thinking, not reacting. Next, audit your body language. Eliminate the fidget. Stop touching your face. Stop tapping your foot. Be still. Stillness is the language of kings. Predators are still before they strike. Prey animals are jittery. When you are still, you project that you are not threatened by the environment. You are the master of the environment. Then, look at your life's trajectory. If you were to die today, what would you leave behind? If the answer is nothing, you have work to do. You need to find a mountain to climb. It doesn't matter what the mountain is, as long as it challenges you. A man conquering a difficult challenge glows with a specific type of energy. It is the energy of competence. Women are drawn to competence like moths to a flame. They want to be near the winner, the builder, the man who overcomes. You must also master the art of outcome independence. This is the ultimate superpower. It means you desire her, you want her, but you do not need her. If she stays, great. If she leaves, you will be fine. This is not arrogance, it is reality. When you are truly outcome independent, you become fearless. You can say the risky joke. You can call her out on her bad behavior. You can make the move. You are not paralyzed by the fear of rejection because your value is not tied to her acceptance. This fearlessness is the most potent aphrodisiac in the world. It frees her to be herself because she doesn't have to walk on eggshells around your fragile ego. Remember, the sparkle in her eyes that disappears, the switch that flips, is not random. It is a biological feedback loop. When the sparkle dies, it is because the polarity has died. You became too feminine, too yielding, too soft. To reignite it, you must repolarize. You must step back into your masculine core. Pull back your energy. Stop chasing. Focus on your mission. Let her feel your absence. Let her feel the void that I am. That void, she will reach out. She will test you to see if the change is real. She will provoke you. And when you stand there, unshakable, amused, and directed towards your own future, she will feel that ancient, primal switch flip back on. She will look at you not as the safe, boring option, but as the dangerous, capable, and mysterious man she chose. That we live in a time where men are taught to apologize for their nature. You are told to be softer, quieter, more pliable. You are told that your instincts are wrong. But the results speak for themselves. Men are lonelier, more confused, and more rejected than ever before. The script you were given by society is broken. It is a script written for workers and drones, not for lovers and leaders. To change your results, you must burn that script. You must stop playing the game of please and protect and start playing the game of project and lead. You must understand that you are under constant biological surveillance. Every text is a test. Every silence is a sentence. Every reaction is a revelation of your character. This is not about becoming a tyrant or a cold-hearted stoic. It is about becoming a man of substance. A man who feels deeply but is not ruled by his feelings. A man who loves women but loves his self-respect more. This is the man who gets the girl, keeps the girl, and leaves the legacy. You now possess the map. You see the invisible wires that pull the puppets. You understand why the nice guys finish last, because they are waiting at the finish line for a prize they never started running for. You understand that attraction is not a negotiation, it is a bioelectric phenomenon generated by tension, polarity, and power. But knowledge alone is not enough. You can memorize every word of this video, you can nod your head in agreement, but if you walk out that door and apologize for your existence, nothing changes. If you send that double text because you are anxious, nothing changes. If you let her disrespect your boundaries because you are afraid of losing her, you have already lost her. Transformation requires a shattering of the old self. It requires the death of the boy who needs mommy's approval and the birth of the man who commands his own world. This path is not easy. It is lonely. It demands that you kill your ego, face your fears, and stand in the fire of emotional pressure without flinching. Most men will turn away. They will go back to the comfort of their illusions. They will blame women, blame society, blame their height, blame their bank account. They will stay in the matrix because the truth is too heavy to carry, but for the few, the chosen, the driven, the awake, there is another option. There is a way to go beyond the surface level. To stop guessing and start knowing. To install a new operating system in your mind that automatically generates the behaviors, the tone, and the presence that women are biologically programmed to crave. That if you are tired of the confusion, if you are done with the silent rejection, if you are ready to stop being the orbiter and start being the sun, then you are ready for the next step. That I have broken down the specific, tactical application of these evolutionary codes into a system that goes far deeper than a YouTube video ever could. This is the manual they should have handed you when you became a man. It is the physics of desire, decoded. This is not for everyone. It is for the man who is ready to kill the nice guy and unleash the king. That if that is you, then click the link in the description or the pinned comment. Do not wait for the sparkle to fade. Do not wait for the silence to become permanent.